Hello folks, welcome to another installment of the Dr. Mark Foster radio show. Today I'm going to talk about something that I've been developing for almost my entire life, beginning when I was 14, primarily through the influence of my spiritual mother, the late Elizabeth Thomas. When I became a Baha'i, joined the Baha'i Faith, that's B-A-H-A'. The main website is Baha'i, B-A-H-A-I, no apostrophe, B-A-H-A-I.org. When I became a Baha'i, I immediately came under, fortunately, the influence of my spiritual mother, Elizabeth Thomas. And she introduced me to an approach to studying the Baha'i Faith, or as we often say in the Baha'i Faith, deepening, in other words, developing a deeper understanding and love and appreciation and level of service. My understandings of that approach have changed numerous times over the years for various reasons. But now I call it the Unicentric Paradigm. The original influence for that was a compilation, really an index, that was put together by the late Imogene Hoag, a Baha'i who had met both Abdu'l-Baha and Shoghi Effendi, and the compilation was called Three Worlds. The three worlds were deity, prophethood, and creation, or servitude. Toward the end of her life, Marian Christ Lippett met her. They had numerous study sessions. As a result of that interaction, Marian Lippett developed her own compilation called the Worlds of God, and developed a kind of index of certain Baha'i texts according to a framework that she devised, which is related to the Worlds of God. Now, my views are certainly very deeply influenced by those of Marian Lippett and those of Elizabeth Thomas, who was also very influenced by Marian Lippett, as well as those of the late Henry A. Weil, who wrote a number of books, including Closer Than Your Life Vein. But my approach is my own, and so I certainly don't claim that my approach is in any way an imitation of anybody else, or nor should any mistakes that I make be blamed on any of those other people. My own views are strictly my own. Now let me go into explaining briefly what this is, and I'll begin by reading a section from this book, which again is called the Unicentric Paradigm. You can access it at Paradigm, that's PARADIGM.BahaiFaith.info. Again, Baha'i Faith, BAHAIFAITH.info. Here's one paragraph I wrote at the beginning of the book, toward the beginning. Through prayer, meditation, service, and investigation, one's understandings evolve. Anything I write in the book will, without a doubt, be flawed or defective. No human being can represent the official teachings of the religion of God for today, the Baha'i Faith. Inevitably, my views will also differ to some extent from those of others. However, by encouraging tolerance, pluralism, and unity within diversity, I pray that my model of the great chain of being, or something similar to it, will contribute to successful interfaith dialogues. The term great chain of being is a term which goes back to Aristotle, who attempted to understand the way in which the various entities, the various created entities, were related to each other. He described them as being in a kind of chain. So in that sense, I'm using basically Aristotle's term, although certainly my approach is not the same as Aristotle's in most respects. Okay. Now let me go through the different levels, and again, this may not be entirely clear as a radio broadcast. I would suggest going and actually reading the text, but I will do my best to introduce it in as succinct and clear way as possible. At the top is something called the station of essential unity. That refers to the essence of God, the essence of God which is unknowable. Now there are other essences or unifying essences as well. Some of them we know, some of them we don't know. The unity of humanity is one that we know. The unity of religions, again, is one that we know. These unifying essences, as I see them, all reflect this kind of unity. They contain this unity, and they have attributes that we can observe. So that's the station of essential unity. It refers primarily to the essence of God, but also by extension to the other essences or unifying essences, which are the source or heart of all of existence. Okay. Below the station of essential unity is the spiritual kingdom. The term spiritual kingdom can also be translated as the angelic realm, or perhaps in a sense angelhood. Those are also valid translations without getting into the Arabic. That it can be translated that way, but primarily Shoki Effendi translated it as kingdom. The prophets function in this spiritual kingdom, in the station of distinction. Now the prophets also function in the station of essential unity, in their oneness. So although the prophets are not God, the essence, they do share that station of God, the essence. But as individuals within the spiritual kingdom, they occupy the station of distinction. In other words, each of the prophets is individual. They're not simply one soul that periodically reincarnates into the world in the way in which some philosophies, especially those in India, often view the avatar. Instead, these are beings. They're just like we human beings are individual. They're individual, but of course they're on a much higher level than we are or will ever be. So that's the station of distinction. Below the station of distinction is the station of servitude, and everything that we discuss from this point on will be a part of this station of servitude. According to Shoghi Effendi, servitude is perfected in Baha'u'llah's son, Abdul Baha, the servant of glory, or the servant of light. That is to say that Abdul Baha is the perfect exemplar of what a Baha'i should be, which is to be a servant. And so he is the personification, in a sense, of this station of servitude, as I see it. Okay, within the station of servitude there is what I call the hereafter, or the next life, or the next world, whatever term that you wish to use. This is the condition of completion, or result, or consequence. In other words, anything that we have accomplished in this world, our state of development at the moment of death, that is what will be expressed in the hereafter. Now, that's not to say that we can't make further progress in the next world, because we can. But that is where we will start, at the level that we left off. However, through the prayers of others, through charitable works done in our names in this world, and through our own prayers, in the next world we can advance as well. So nobody is permanently confined to a lower level, to like a hellish condition. There is that kind of hellish condition in the next world as well as here, or separation from God, just as there is paradise, or nearness to God, or heaven. But those are relative conditions, and as souls, through the mercy and bounty of God in the next world, we can continue to develop. Okay. Directly below the hereafter is the great workshop of this world. In other words, the idea here is that while we are living in this world, it is as if we are in a workshop preparing and developing our attributes or virtues for the next world, much as the fetus in the womb of the mother is developing its attributes, its physical attributes, that it will need to function in this world. And in a sense there is a comparison. The fetus cannot possibly imagine what life in this world is like. Similarly, in this world, we really cannot fully imagine what life in the next world is like. We are given hints, but the true nature of that world will be apparent to us only after we leave and depart this earthly condition. So the human world, in other words, only after we leave this place will we really find out what that purely spiritual dimension is like. Okay. Within the great workshop of this world is the higher nature. The higher nature is the spiritual kingdom for us in this world. It's where we can acquire spiritual attributes. In other words, we can become angels, acquire the attributes of angelhood while we are still here in this world. In effect, we are born again, and we live according to our universal or shared higher nature. So this nature, this higher nature, as I see it, is not individual. It is shared. It is a collective higher nature. So, and it's something that we all have, and it's manifested or reflected as the rational faculty or the human spirit, but it's a shared essence or nature that we have. Okay, now below the higher nature is the human kingdom. This kingdom contains the essence of humanity. In other words, the unity of humanity. That is the essence of the human kingdom. Right now, the human kingdom is being structured by dear Baha'u'llah into his New World Order. And at some point, that New World Order will become manifest to the world. Below the human kingdom is nature. Nature can also be called the material world or the physical world. Refers to things that are directly observable through the five senses, and some things that are not directly observable, like perhaps gravity, which is only observed indirectly by its attributes, what it does. Like we know that objects in a vacuum, any object, will fall at a constant rate of 32.2 feet per second squared, but we don't know what gravity is. Nobody's ever seen gravity, and yet we call it the law of gravity. So we only know about it indirectly. But all of that is a part of nature. Anything that is that we can observe visibly is a part of nature, and nature becomes a kind of metaphor, a way that we can approach an understanding of the realms of spirit. The only way that we can conceive of spiritual realities is by analogy to things in nature, to material realities. So nature is very important. It has a very important role. In the next world, in the hereafter, it will no longer be necessary, but since we are living here, it's necessary. Okay, now within nature, first is the animal kingdom. This kingdom may include a number of essences or unities or species. The attributes of the animal kingdom are collectively referred to as the animal spirit, the qualities of being an animal. In other words, they are in effect the animal's bodily functions. Okay, now below the animal kingdom is the vegetable kingdom. Again, this kingdom includes or may include numerous unities or essences or species, and the attributes of this vegetable kingdom are referred to as the vegetable spirit, which is cohesion. The mineral spirit, which is growth, not cohesion. I apologize for that. The mineral kingdom is the also may include numerous essences, and the attributes of that kingdom are the mineral spirit, which is cohesion. Now, each of those kingdoms contains the attributes or spirit of the kingdoms below it, but the ones below do not contain the attributes of those above. Okay, so that is a very brief summary of the Unicentric Paradigm. I hope that this presentation, this program, has encouraged you to go and read the full text of the book, and that you will benefit from it. Thank you very much. Until next time, this is Mark Foster, signing off.